Funerals have been held in the occupied West Bank for 6 Palestinians. They were killed in an Israeli drone strike on the Nur Shams refugee camp near Tulkarem. Soldiers prevented ambulances from reaching the site. Israeli forces also detained 14 Palestinians across the occupied West Bank on Wednesday. Imran Khan has more from the Nur Shams refugee camp.
The raid in Nur Shams camp began around midnight. It was the second raid in 24 hours. Now, at 1:30 in the morning, there were a group of men between the ages of 17 and 29 who were just stood here. They were watching the raid, and then an Israeli drone strike came in from that direction, hitting the ground over here. You can see the crater here. That's where the drone strike hit. You can see the shrapnel over here on the wall. Now, we've just been speaking to a paramedic who described what he saw. He was the first person on the scene.
I arrived at the place after hearing the first bombing. It was the biggest crime. Where the explosion occurred, we found the men lying everywhere. They were all our friends and brothers. The injuries were from shrapnel from the missile. One of the young men had his hand cut off and the other had his foot cut off. They were all young men and civilians. The occupation does not differentiate between civilians and military.
You can see the blood on the ground there. That's where the paramedic was trying to help the people. Now, the Israelis stopped ambulances coming in for about an hour and a half. Eventually, they had to pick up the men and take them down to where the ambulances were. But that's not the only significant incident that happened. We've been hearing from a paramedic who's told us that an Israeli soldier walked into his ambulance and stabbed a Palestinian man in the neck whilst he was on an ambulance stretcher. You've asked him if he wanted to appear on camera and recount his incident, but he's said no, he's fearful of reprisals. We've not seen something like that before, an Israeli soldier entering an ambulance and stabbing somebody in the neck. Imran Khan, Al Jazeera, Nur Shams camp, the occupied West Bank.